Hey gang, it's Comb Over Carl here again. I don't know if I'm going to keep that name. It's kind of funny. I like it. I'm trying this thing where you can't see my receding hairline quite as much. I'm here to bring you my final say in this Nintendo 64 game, so you can decide that if you want to re-experience it in your midlife crisis. This is an RPG, Aidyn Chronicles. I've done a couple videos, kind of like on my initial reaction to it, and then a little bit of the gameplay. I finally finished the game. I will say it's plenty of game. It's plenty of game. It's fun. It's very 64, which means there is a certain in my opinion, it's an unreasonable amount of jank for a game made in 2001, near the tail end of when we were almost done with the 64 timeline. Kind of, I can't remember when the Wii came out, but that it doesn't, or the not the Wii, the GameCube. Oh my God, it doesn't matter though, because like this is 3 years after Legend of Zelda, and it is not smooth. No, it's fun. The story is okay. The dialogue is pretty terrible. I don't know if that was a translation issue. I didn't bother doing any research on, if the studio was American to begin with or not, mostly because I don't care. The artwork itself is so turn of the millennium with its funky, swoopy styling that does not translate well into low polygon count 3D artwork, I guess you would call it. But it was fine. It's fine. It's got a lot of pros in that there are fantastical bad guys, and you have swords, and you have staves, and scythes, and maces, and hurl stars, and all kinds of wonderful things that you can commit violence against the forces of chaos. They don't say evil, it's chaos. And it's an interesting story that they were trying to get at with this naming thing that your main character, spoiler alert, hey guys, doesn't have a true name. Of course, he's got the name everybody calls him, which is Aileron. I don't know. I don't know if they even say it in the cutscenes because I'm over here watching it. It's a game. It's got bad guys. You beat them up. Turn-based. There's magic. I like that there's permadeath with your Of course, there's permanent death with your main character, but then you just lose the game and you get a game over. But I like that there's permadeath in your side characters, and there's an option to trade out for a limited number of other side characters. It's not like Final Fantasy VII where there's 30 people in the wings all waiting to be in your three-party gang of miscreants. It's, there's like 8 other people, and it shows them in the manual, which, by the way, you need. Because there's no... If there's my biggest critique of this game, it is the menu system and the reference system. If you don't have the manual to this game, which I did have the manual because I got it complete, you don't know what spells go with what schools, of which there are 4 schools, so you don't know what buffs or rebuffs or unbuffs or debuffs to use in order to protect yourself from certain spells that other enemies are bound to cast, because you would think that Frozen Doom would be an elemental spell, but it's not. It's a star spell. It just seems to me like games like Quest 64 are a lot more intuitive because they're going along with this 4 elements aspect, of which we've all seen and heard like a million times before. And this is schools of naming, necromancy, elemental, starlight. You know what I mean? It's weird. And I'm sure if you played it a lot, you would get more intuitive with it, which you're going to have to do if you play this game a lot, which it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it feels like it drags a lot. There's portals in the game, but they're nowhere convenient, and they're hard to use, and you don't really know if you're using them properly. The whole point of the game is that you're a child, you're a squire, and you're special because you weren't given a proper name, and you find out that you weren't given a proper name because your parents, who were the king and his brand new side piece that lives out in the wood after his wife had died, had a baby, and goblins attacked before you be properly named, and then like in the 15 years or however old Aileron is, you never bother getting a name, which just makes it harder and harder to get your name after that. And then that creates like this ghost version of you, sort of like a shadow Aileron, which I'm sure they didn't steal from The Legend of Zelda. at all. And then you go through this whole quest where you end up merging with the shadow version of yourself, who is speaking backwards in the beginning. So if you can read backwards, you can kind of understand what he's saying, or you can just hold a mirror up to your screen and figure it out that way. Then there's a cutscene of you get to join back with your shadow self, which is not masturbatory at all. There's nothing sexual about it, and you never once think that they're going to kiss. But then you have to, after that, you're still not done. You got to get your name, so you got to go to this dragon. And honestly, that part was kind of cool. I liked the dragon part. It was surprisingly hard to get to. But then by the time you get that, you're so close to the end of the game. So then, yeah, you go back home and all the final revelations happen. And then you gotta beat up the, well, first, of course, you gotta beat up your half-sibling for no reason, because he's evil, because the prince is going to be evil. He's of course going to sell out the kingdom for their own, because they're not special enough like the main character. That's not a tried and tested trope at all. But you're gonna fight that guy, and then you gotta fight the big bad evil guy, which is like this chaotic spider looking thing. The chaos aspect was interesting because it made for a lot of interesting, very sinister looking bad guys. But it's a fun game. If you've got an entire work's worth of free time to kill, I would suggest finding it and playing it. I've never found it anywhere other than the place that I actually found this one, which was at, I think, Secret Castle Toys and Games. I don't know. They don't have another one, so this one's mine. You can't have it. But if you can find it, there's downloads, there's ROMs, which of course have fixed some of the glitches in it, and maybe it's fixed some of the lighting issues, because the playability, that was my only other, and I've argued about this in another video. There's times at night where it's so dark, the screen's just black. Like, you can't, unless you find an enemy to highlight them, you don't know where anything is. You're just literally stumped. You can't avoid anything. You can't find anything. Which is super realistic, which is what everybody's going for. But yeah, Aidyn Chronicles the First Mage. I played it. Anyway, I gotta go do my taxes or something.